Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dearest parents. How are you? Good to hear. Great. Alhamdulillah. I am so happy that you're doing well. Yes, this video is for parents, and this is just a video I'm trying to do in support of parents who might be considering homeschooling, who are already homeschooling their young ones, and how it is so important when you are homeschooling your children, or even as a teacher, if you are an early childhood educator, to kind of understand how to go about planning your lessons, keeping in mind the developmentally appropriate practices and the whole child concept, and what it means to plan lesson plans focused more on children's play. It is not that you just give children toys and they just play. It is something that is very intentionally planned ahead of time by teachers, keeping the most appropriate practices in mind. So with that said, let's begin. Bismillah. I will be sharing my screen. This was a curriculum presentation that I did a couple of years back, and it is about making dinosaur fossils. So let's go. So the developmentally appropriate rationale, I'm going to pick one of them. I picked one of them for this presentation, which is magical thinking. What is magical thinking? Well, young children's reasoning is often influenced by their tendency toward magical thinking and animism. That's why they're always so excited about dinosaurs. So animism is giving lifelike qualities to inanimate objects. Now, how would you apply that? So you want to take, I took that concept of imaginative play. I'm like, what would interest children? And then I picked this book called Dinosaur in My Backyard. And I made a whole lesson plan about uncovering fossils in the sandbox. So, and going to the backyard to uncover fossils in the sandbox catapulted the children into this imaginary magical thinking. It prompted discussions about what the dinosaurs ate and how they lived, whether they were friendly or used to scare other dinosaurs and eat them. So whether it be the real young children or this can work for children from preschool age to second grade. I remember I taught second grade, and when I taught second grade, at that time I had no knowledge of the developmentally appropriate practices, so I didn't know how to approach. Children were still excited, but it was more like reading from a book, writing on the board, answering questions, that kind of approach to learning. But this is more like a hands-on approach to learning, where you kind of facilitate and make the environment, allow the environment to provide the children materials for them to have fun, explore, and grow as they learn. Developmentally appropriate rationale. Teaching the science draws on the children's curiosity and encourages children to pursue their own questions and develop their own ideas. So it kind of happens naturally, rather than you kind of standing at the front and teaching them how to ask questions or how to explore. It automatically, inherently happens when children are exploring with their hands and observing with their eyes and their senses. Application. When the children had their dinosaurs, they explored the different types of dinosaur body shapes. They discussed about body parts such as head, neck, feet, wings, and tail. They're learning cognitive development. Their cognitive self is enhanced when children are asked for their ideas and theories. Maybe like, what happened to you? What do you think happened to the dinosaurs? How did they disappear? How did they go extinct? See, there you can introduce a vocabulary word, extinct, and what does that mean? Children are allowed to explore the world around them through all their senses. Specific learning such as vocabulary and counting are weaved into daily activities in a natural and interesting way. This is me reading story at circle time. And this basically also supports and exposes the children to the language and vocabulary around dinosaurs. And this is us at the activity table. Your children are exploring through senses. They're weaving language and vocabulary into their play. The physical self is enhanced when plenty of time is provided for daily vigorous physical play. It is so important for children to be physically active and play. Research shows that adults cannot sit 10 minutes. And if you have adults sitting for longer than 10 minutes, they will lose their focus. So we are talking about little children. Because what happens when we are sitting straight for 10 minutes straight, our blood pools in our feet and it's not getting to our brain. So naturally we start fidgeting, and so do children. And when children oftentimes do this while they're learning something in a classroom setting or at school or whatever, at madrasa setting, then we kind of get impatient with them and we're like, no, sit straight, don't fidget. But that's a natural part of the body. That's a natural way the body is saying, well, I need to move, I need to get blood flowing to my brain. So physical self is so important, and it's so important for children to be provided opportunities for vigorous physical play, especially outdoors, making sure everyone washes hands thoroughly throughout the day, children and adults. Sandbox exploration. Here, children are exploring, they're digging through the sand, so they're using that physical gross motor skills. Digging and searching. It is so important to allow time for children to explore. It is a bad idea to kind of rush children from one activity to another. Let them explore. But you also don't want to get it to a point where they're kind of bored. That's where you end up having a lot of behavioral issues. So you want to keep it, have it in a way where you are allowing time, yet introducing maybe new elements to the same play so that it keeps them engaged longer and keeps them exploring. Social. The social self is enhanced when children are allowed plenty of time and support to interact with and learn from each other. Children are invited to collaborate and discuss rules with adults. That kind of gives them the ownership and the leadership qualities. You want to help and support. Help and support is provided for children to solve their own problems. So as adults, we often have the tendency to kind of resolve things for our children, but that's when you want to kind of take a step back from that urge and kind of ask open-ended questions around the problem and have the children come to solutions. Making trace fossils here. Child is listening to ideas about how to fit bone inside her fossil because she already has a lot of imprints of her dinosaur. So she was running out of space, and when she said that, I'm like, well, I don't know, how do you think we could help you? And she didn't know, but another child offered that, oh, I have this extra clay that you could use to make another fossil. So this little girl, she ended up having a little bit of additional clay to make a separate fossil because she didn't have enough space. So the children came with the solution for solving their own problem. The emotional self is enhanced when warm, caring relationships are created with each and every child. A climate of respect for all people is present in the room. Children are taught how to express their feelings appropriately. Each child is helped in developing competence, right? If you end up doing everything for the children, or for example, product-driven activities. I have a beef with product-driven activities. So you want to have activities that are kind of open-ended, where the children get to explore and kind of develop competency levels and confidence in their own creation. rather than a product being arrived at just because that's the way the teacher asked you to make it. So there's more creativity and there's more ownership when a child is allowed and given an activity that's more open-ended, a project that is more open-ended. So it is more process-based than project-based. And that plays a key role in their emotional development. This child in the teacher's lab was initially crying, and I managed to get his attention, and from then on he was engaged in the story. So kind of, this is a little bit about managing your circle time, and more than managing behavior, we want to be able to engage the children in a way that it gets intertwined in our activity. So this was a reading activity rather than calling attention like, oh, listen to me, or sit crisscross applesauce, sit quietly, listening ears. But it can work with some children, it might not work with others. And you want to engage that specific child and focus on that specific child and see what is it that they're needing first before, so that you can get everybody also listening. Children at activity table. Children are supported through different emotional stages. Somebody could be feeling frustrated, somebody could be feeling joyful. So you want to address those feelings. Know a little bit more about that on the next slide. So you don't want to just say, oh, you're feeling happy or you're feeling frustrated, but you want to have more words and more vocabulary. The more equipped you are with your vocabulary words, the better the children are going to be at learning those words and addressing those emotions within themselves and being able to express those emotions. And so some of the words are, some of the emotions that I witnessed at that activity table were curiosity about what we were going to do, excited about the topic of dinosaurs, distressed not knowing what was going on, at first, joyous to have discovered the dinosaurs, frustration for the ones who did not right away find one, confident when dissatisfied with the end result of their creation. And the creative self is enhanced when large time periods are allowed for free play, props, and experiences that inspire pretend play are provided. Children are provided time and many types of materials for self-expression. Children are allowed to explore the art materials freely. There's children at the activity table working freely at their fossil imprints. Those books are key to learning about how to approach children in developmentally appropriate ways, to teach them concepts and design your curriculum. And that's the end of my presentation. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed my video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.